Morning, beautiful souls. I hope you're having a gorgeous day, and I really felt passionate about sharing this today. Um, when when we're experiencing a lot of hypersensitive, there can be a few different reasons for this, but I really wanted to share this because it's so important, I think, as women as well, to be really aware of where we're up to in our cycles and all the different things that can kind of play out, because sometimes we can wake up and just be like, gosh, I feel like rubbish, or I don't know what's going on, or feeling overly anxious, or all of those different things. So this is the first piece that I want to speak into, and then I'll talk into hypersensitivity a little bit more as well. Like I mentioned, there can be a few different reasons. Many women that are very sensitive to others' energies, that are quite empathic, quite tuned in to what others are experiencing, or just as sensitive in their nature, can often be very predisposed to actually experiencing burnout. And so that's like an important factor. But what I want to share initially is just being aware of where you're up to within your cycle. I was reading Dr. Stacey Sims' book Raw the other day, and she spoke specifically about how much women are more predisposed to go into the fight-flight state in that last week of your cycle before you start day one again. So generally from day 21 through to day 28, a lot of our hormones are dropping off quite rapidly, and as a result, our heart rate actually goes up, our body temperature slightly changes, and we can be in more heightened or more elevated states as a result of that. And so because our body's energy is compromised, we can feel a little bit more sensitive, obviously, to the energy of others around us. We can often feel a sense of self-doubt or insecurity. Those things can start to arise, particularly during that phase, because testosterone is also low. Testosterone is what also supports us in having high energy, and the other hormones as well, obviously estrogen and progesterone, having healthy balances of all of those. Definitely, in the mid part of our cycle, that's when we feel most confident, because we've got the most energy, and we've also got the most testosterone at that particular point as well, which is when we're feeling great, we feel like we can conquer the world, or all of those different things. But as those hormones taper off during the end of our cycle, we can drop into greater fears, doubts, insecurities, and comparisonitis can often play a huge role as well with this. If you're on social media and you start to compare yourself, and our mindset can become a little bit more negative because of our compromised energy. So I wanted to share that, to be aware of that in the last part of your cycle as well, to just be gentle on yourself, to probably try and stay off social media, or just be really clear in why you want to go on social media in the first place, whether that's to connect with others or to share something inspirational, or all of those things. But just being really mindful of that for yourself, and doing things that connect you back to you or fill up your bucket is going to be most helpful for you, particularly in that last week in your cycle. I always back off on my exercise. I'm very aware each day in what I need to give myself, and what my body actually really needs. Often I'll take myself to bed a little bit earlier, just be really, really aware of where my energy's at and what I need to do to support myself with that as well. The other parts to the hypersensitivity is sometimes, if you've ever studied human design, this can actually show up within gates within the chart as well. So astrologically, yes, we can definitely experience that. And there can also be the arrow of hypersensitivity as well. If you're missing a 2, a 5, or a 8 in your birth date, meaning those numbers aren't present in your birth date, that actually means that you, astrologically or through numerology, you'll also be experiencing the arrow of hypersensitivity. I also have this in my chart. I'm also Cancerian, so very, very sensitive to others' energies, very sensitive to the energy around me. And so being very aware of those things. Now, the other part of sensitivity, as I mentioned, can come through like human design. If you've got the gate 19, for example, that is a very sensitive gate to others, like to being attuned to others and to others' needs and things like that. There can also be a lot of openness within the chart, which means that you'll take in others' energies around you and actually amplify that energy. So also being aware of that. But also, if you're extremely burnt out, if you're exhausted, then hypersensitivity can definitely occur as well, because we actually have a lot less energy for what's actually available, and we become even more hypervigilant. If you think about a deer that's injured in the woods, often that deer is not going to just be chilled it's not going to be relaxed. It's going to be like hyper vigilant. Go, what was that noise? What was that noise? What was that? I need to be aware of what's going on around me. So it can create this hypersensitivity or hypervigilance within the system. The other piece that I've certainly noticed for myself, and when I share this with a lot of the clients that I've worked with, they're like, oh my God, this is so true, is when we're operating from a base level of shame. And that can be in the experience of, I feel that I'm not enough. When we feel that we're not enough, and particularly if we've held that belief for a long time, we haven't ever challenged that belief, or we don't know how to challenge that belief, we can feel hypersensitive to the feedback or criticism from others around. And we can have beliefs like it's all my fault, or I am always doing something wrong, or I can never get it right. All of those beliefs can actually have us feeling very, very hypersensitive to others' feedback, and make it very, very difficult to actually receive feedback in a way that's truly supportive or can truly actually help us as well. So when we're operating from that base level of shame, hey Shani, great to have you on, Dylan. Or feeling that we're not enough, people will often say, you know, I have to walk on eggshells around you, or you may feel that you have to walk on eggshells around others. And often it's because of that base level of shame that somebody may be operating from, in feeling that they're not enough, that nothing they do is right, or anytime they try it's not good enough, or any of those things. Healing those things is absolutely key to actually healing that hypersensitivity to others' feedback or others' criticism as well, where we're no longer personalizing things, because with those beliefs and with those thoughts, with those feelings, and as humans, when we feel somebody's acting in a particular way and it's really hurting us, we tend to make meaning around what that means about ourselves personally, and that's the moment the trauma actually occurs. It's never actually really the event, it's what we make the event mean. Meaning your spouse might walk in, they might have had a bad day, they might be in an angry mood, and immediately we make it, they don't love me, I've done something wrong. All of those things can come in if you've not done the inner work to actually heal those particular things as well. So freeing yourself from that, or knowing how to free yourself from that, is absolutely paramount to feeling no longer that you're taking things as personally, or you're making it about you, when potentially it's not actually even anything to do with you. You might have done nothing wrong, all of those things. But being able to come from our heart energy rather than our defensive ego mind that either wants to justify or blame or project back. Meaning, yeah, well, if you didn't do this, well, then I wouldn't feel this way. Like, we can really get into some really challenging dynamics in relationships when these particular things are playing out. And if you've got two people operating from that base level of shame, meaning I feel like I'm not enough, I feel like I never, you know, whatever I do is never good enough for you, or any of those things, if both people are in that, there can be a lot of blaming and shaming and projecting back and forth, and really creating a lot of reactivity as well. So knowing how to shift these things is absolutely paramount to getting back to having great relationships, but also being able to communicate your needs really, really effectively, and feel heard and feel validated, and hear the other person and validate the other person's experience as well. Remembering we're all walking around with these particular beliefs or lenses, perceptions that we're viewing the world through. And so we all have our own beliefs, and we all have our own perceptions based upon our life experiences and what we've actually made that mean. So healing those things is absolutely key and paramount, and it's a huge part of the work that I actually do, certainly within my Thrive program, which is a 12-week Thrive program. But I'm really excited to also announce I do have a 28-day mini course, which still gives you the basics and the foundations as well. So if you'd love to hear more about that, I am literally launching that today. I had planned to launch it a couple of weeks ago, and just really wanted to fine tune a couple of things and make sure that we had everything in there that was really supporting you to really get the best results. But that actually is the base foundational parts, where it does give you literally the tools and strategies to start to challenge some of these beliefs and no longer be operating from that base level of shame or feeling that you're not enough. And knowing how to set yourself free from that is absolutely life-changing. It's not to say it doesn't pop up, you know, it still pops up for me occasionally, and in that moment of awareness, when I notice it's there, I can absolutely go do the work on it and heal myself and release myself from that in that particular moment as well. So if you'd love to find out more, if that really resonates for you, please reach reach out, send me a DM, and let's book in a quick time to chat, completely complimentary, and see if and how I might be able to support you and help you to come back to you, to love you, and to feel great within yourself, and also to heal that hypersensitivity. There's a lot that's going on in the nervous system, and particularly when we have unhealed trauma within the nervous system, that can really create a lot of hypersensitivity as well, and triggers and reactors and things like that, if there is unexpressed, unhealed things held within the nervous system. And from years and years and years of doing this work, not only on myself but also with so many beautiful women, it's such an important part of really understanding how to release some of these experiences from the nervous system and actually really get in touch with what's actually going on at the deeper level, which provides a deeper feeling of calm throughout your whole entire system. You'll be able to regulate not only your nervous system, which is incredibly important for our health and well-being, but also regulate yourself emotionally, and in turn that also helps us to really feel better within ourselves, have more positive thoughts, and not feeling like you're constantly battling that inner critic, because that can be really, really paralyzing on a day-to-day basis as well. So have an amazing day. If that resonates, please reach out. Otherwise, hopefully that's been really valuable for you, and sending you all lots of love. Have an amazing day. Bye.